So, I know I'm kind of late on this one, but Halo Eldewrito, I mean, that was a game that a lot of people were very much looking forward to, and a lot of people in the Halo community are been rightfully pissed at Microsoft for kind of, getting rid of this Halo Online program. And, I mean, I'm kind of late doing this, I know, but I thought I'd give my thoughts on it and, give you the legality status. I mean, I'm not really a legal guy, but I mean, there is a lot of legal stuff that has to be gone through in order to understand really what went down and why Microsoft was being such a dick about it. And why so many people think Microsoft just absolutely, utterly hates Halo, especially after the wild things that they did with Halo 5 that were completely uncalled for. So, anyway, here's the whole situation. Apparently, Halo Online was like it was being made by, it was a collab between Russia gamers and Microsoft. They were going to make this Halo Online thing. And apparently, the Russian video game market is very different from the Americans in the terms of they actually most of the games in Russia are actually pay free, but they're filled to the brim with microtransactions. So you can see where a lot of companies would really kind of start that up. So apparently they were doing that around 2015, 2014 or something like that, and they never really finished it. Like Microsoft just said fuck it and stop. I'm not sure what the exact reason is, but they just upped and stopped it. It was probably because they were going to support Halo Wars 2, considering that game was announced late 2016, came out early 2017. So they might have just stopped it in order to support Halo Wars 2. And considering how big of a mess Halo 5 was upon release. So you can understand maybe that was why they did it. I'm not sure if that is the exact reason. I'm just speculating, but that could have been it. And so a software company, well, not a software company, but another video game company found the lost pieces of tech. Like, basically, it's the tech that had been laying to gather dust since Microsoft was no longer concerned with Halo Online. So they started doing their own thing. They were really, and it was just a development game. Like, they were just developing it. It was kind of like PUBG in a sense where, like, it was an unfinished game, but they were they were updating it constantly, trying to finish it within a certain time frame. Only they didn't have some studio leaping over their backs, so they were just like, hey, we're just gonna fix this, gonna do what we can with it. And apparently it wasn't very sought out. I didn't even know what the fuck it was until a few weeks ago. But a lot of people were really hyped about Halo Online, the .06 update to Halo Eldewrito, and I was very excited to hear what was inside of it. I mean, it basically just looked like Halo 3 Online, which is something that a lot of Halo fans that were fans when the original 3 Halos were still the big thing, like, holy shit, why didn't we get Halo 3 Online? I mean, this very well could be our chance to get Halo 3 Online. Or at least a PC version of Halo 3, considering Halo 1 and 2 were released for PC when those were the big games to get. So a lot of people were confused why Microsoft didn't really do that. My speculation is they did it because Halo was the big console leaper for the Xbox. I think since the Xbox 360 came out just a couple years before, that's why they did it. And then they just never bothered to do it with anything else, which is a real disappointment when you think about it. But anyway, a lot of people were really excited about this .06 update, or 0.6 update, whatever. And it's just a lot of people really excited, man. It's like really pumped up. So many people had videos and clips of the game gathered. They were going to do something really awesome with it. And then suddenly, Microsoft just stopped. They just stopped doing it. They just said, well, not stopped doing it. Microsoft stepped in and said, we're taking legal action against you. Now, that's a little late, considering that this game is apparently, that Eldewrito's been out for quite a while. So I'm just wondering what I mean, I know, and technically, this isn't the developer's property, whatever the developer's name is. That wasn't their property, so I mean, legal action was going to be taken at some point. I mean, when you're doing something like that, but it wasn't like it was illegal. I mean, and Microsoft had to have known about it. The entire development team knew that Microsoft was going to do something about it soon. But considering how wild the popularity for the 0.6 update was getting, I think Microsoft would actually listen to the fan base and say, hey, maybe we listen to the fans on this one. I mean, they're not EA. Microsoft hasn't been EA bad when it comes to listening to the fans, but in recent years, they've kind of started to be like that. Which is kind of sad considering that the Xbox One, in my opinion, is starting to get a lot better compared to the PS4. Considering that the Xbox One was haggled upon release. And all of a sudden, especially with all the new innovations with the backwards compatibilities, where they're actually giving you old Xbox games to play. You gotta pay for it, but still, they're giving you original Xbox games, and you can pay play it for free if you have the original disc copy. So, why are they doing this? I mean, they had to have known, if they had known about this beforehand, that the fans would be pretty damn pissed about this. Alright, and when I heard this, I was like, well, shit, this is probably inevitable since it wasn't technically their property to begin with, but I mean, you think they would have done something else? You think they would have at least tried to reconcile? Apparently, 343, and this wasn't even 343 having a hand in any of this. 343 said, dude, we love this, like, keep up the good work and stuff like that, but Microsoft said no. Microsoft just did not like it. There was some miscommunication going on or something like that, considering 343 is owned by Microsoft. So you think they would have done something? I mean, like I said, 343, they loved it. They're like, dude, go. I don't know what caused this miscommunication to happen, but apparently Microsoft just said no. And like I said, I mean, yeah, this is kind of inevitable when you're using a Microsoft thing and you're trying to make money off of it, and they like no. So I can understand that bit, but I mean, I just don't know what was going through Microsoft's head at the time. It could have been the whole legality issue. If it was a whole legality issue, I mean, that's not that bad. You gotta look at it from Microsoft's perspective too. But my whole problem is how this just caused a shitstorm. It was an unnecessary shitstorm at that. Like, it didn't have to end this way. And that's what it turned into. It just turned into shit. Like, I really want to know what was going through Microsoft's head. I want to know if Bill Gates had any say in whether or not that had gone through. So I don't think it did. Considering he was the guy who sold the first copy of Halo 3 at the peak of Halo's popularity, you think that he would have listened to the fans on this one? And honestly, if this had reached Bill Gates' desk, I bet you he'd be pissed. Maybe at Eldewrito for taking their property, but considering how popular it was getting online, I mean, you'd think he would have been just like, hey, fuck it, let him do it. I would have. They could have done a collab and gotten the entire Microsoft. They could have collabed. I mean, that thing, like what they did with Creative Assembly for Halo 2, they could have collabed with 343 and then went ahead and did it. Alright, they could have collabed, gave it official release, tested it out, see how it would do, and if everybody liked it, and then we wouldn't have a problem. But the whole legality issue, man. But this also just comes back to the bigger issue at hand. Why does Microsoft not want to release anything for PC for Halo? I mean, there's been a lot of rumors that Halo 6 is supposed to be getting a PC release, and Halo Wars 2, it got a PC release along with the original Halo Wars for the Definitive Edition. but there hasn't been a mainline Halo game that hasn't really had an online release for the PC since Halo 2. I mean, Halo. One of the things I really like seeing online is what people are able to do with the Halo's custom edition. Seeing what they could do with the Halo custom edition. I mean, that technology is over 14 years. No, not 14 years old. 17 years old now. Barely younger than me, and it is revered. It is. I mean, I haven't really. I mean, this is old technology, and they repurposed it into something pretty damn cool to make their own, type of shit. And then Halo 5 Forge came out, which is really the only real, I guess, Halo experience, first-person shooter experience on PC since Halo 2, but it was just Forge. It didn't have the campaign. It didn't really have the stuff you would get out of a normal mainline Halo game on the PC. So it's just left a whole lot of people confused as to the future of Halo. Because, I mean, a lot of people just wanted that awesome Halo experience that they had when the first two games came out. I mean, a lot of people really loved Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2 on PC. I mean, it had a pretty decent following. And this isn't even the biggest issue. One of the biggest issues is the fact that this is coming not right off the heels, but it's coming pretty quickly after, they took down the Halo 2 servers. I mean, Halo 2 servers at the time of its death was the biggest online server on the original Xbox and the 360, and they got rid of the servers for no reason at all. And this was before the Xbox One came out, I believe. Yeah, this is well before the Xbox One came out. I think it was like 2012 at least, and at the most 2011, that Microsoft just dumped Halo 2 on its ass when it came to online multiplayer. Which is kind of sad, because Halo 2 on online multiplayer, I was able to really experience it on the what's it called, the Master Chief Collection, but it was still pretty damn fun when you got into it, and I love playing four-player split screen on places like Lockout. Makes the gameplay a hell of a lot of fun. But I mean, a lot of people just really felt betrayed by Microsoft after that, and that frustration just continued to grow with Halo 4. And a lot of people kind of blame Halo CE for ruining the Flood, and why the Flood might not potentially make it back into the Halo series as a mainline villain, though Halo Wars 2 kind of disproves that. So it's just seeing what Microsoft has been doing the last few years, and especially after the fiasco of Halo 5, people are rightfully pissed. I do not blame anybody for being pissed off at Microsoft. But you also got to look at it from Microsoft's perspective. I mean, I watched Ackman's video on this. His video was pretty raw and informative about it, and I think it's probably the best video out there to talk about this type of stuff with. But anyway, yeah. So does Microsoft really hate Halo? Is the big question. Does Microsoft really hate the thing that gave them so much money and, big standing? Halo managed to single-handedly leap the original Xbox off the ground. Single-handedly. Became the killer app. That and KOTOR. They were able to just bring a corporation that was mediocre when it came to video game experience, and they became a flagship enterprise. But considering the recent examples of just Microsoft's meddling, is something really going on at Microsoft that's really saying, hey, we kind of hate Halo? Is this turning into a situation like with Lucasfilm, where it's coming off like they're doing so many things intentionally to hurt the old lore of Star Wars in order to progress the new? Because that's kind of what I think is going on here with at least some of the developers or some of the higher ups at Microsoft who head the game divisions. So it's just, like I said, it's just really concerning to me. Really concerning. And like I said, I cannot blame anybody for being any more concerned than I am on this particular issue. Because, I mean, I'm not a guy who's really connected online. I'm not really a guy who's online savvy. I barely have access to internet at the moment to enough to upload videos. I'm just not that big of an online guy. But seeing all this stuff kind of makes me wonder for the future of the offline multiplayer as well. Concerning with the whole new stuff about Call of Duty, where they're basically getting rid of the campaign experience in Call of Duty to do this Battle Royale bullshit for Call of Duty. Fucking Treyarch being fucking retarded, that or it's the freaking Activision bringing an EA bullshit into it. I don't know on that one. That's a whole different video. But it seems like the Microsoft is coming off a bit like it just hates Halo, and it's really getting sad. Like, honestly, I am pretty sad about it. Like, I'm really hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping everybody is wrong on this one. I don't want Halo to fall into this pit of despair that ends with the entire destruction of the series. Like not even Halo 2 could save it if it goes this way. Like, if Microsoft keeps doing the shit they're doing, not even Halo Wars 2 could save the Halo franchise. And that's the thing I think really saves Halo. Right? Because, I mean, Halo 5 did so much wrong with its story. And then when Halo Wars 2 came out, it was like a breath of fresh air. It's like we were finally out of the bullshit for at least a moment. And that may be the only bright spot we have, but maybe that but I think that saved what was left of Halo. And if we can keep this going, maybe we can ride this momentum into Halo 6. I mean, that comes out late this year, or maybe early next year. I honestly hope so. They need a little bit more time. They really need to polish the storyline so they don't pull a Halo 6. Pull a Halo 5. They just need to do a little bit of a better job with the writing. I mean, once they fix their main flaws in 343 and with Microsoft, if they can just fix all of that, then Halo could be saved. But Microsoft has to keep the fans in the know. They have to stop making it seem like they are going in being antagonistic when it comes to Halo. That's honestly what it feels like they're doing. And if they don't stop, if they don't pump the brakes and say, hey, we need to slow it down a little bit, and then attempt to get a cash grab all Disney-like, then Halo is screwed. Essentially, it will be screwed. And there will be nothing we can do to stop it. There'll be nothing we can do to stop it unless we can get Bill Gates to, unless we can get somebody to talk to Bill Gates and we can do a whole bunch of crazy shit. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of, info. I mean, I was kind of expecting me to do a rant. I mean, this was kind of late, like I said. I was expecting to do a rant, but I actually kept myself pretty calm. I mean, you gotta admit, this whole situation is just a little weird, but I mean, we can get through it. We've gone through worse shit in the video game community over the past few years. I mean, honestly, as long as they don't pull Andromeda, that anything that Microsoft does will probably be a fucking masterpiece. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Don't die.